The high-speed rail link HS2 could, and I quote, divide and destroy natural habitats across England. This is according to a new report by the Wildlife Trust.
Yeah, our transport correspondent Tom Burridge is at I think you say Calvert Jubilee, is that right? Nature Reserve, which is on the proposed rail route, and can tell us more. Have I said that right, Tom? Morning to you.
Morning.
Yeah, spot on, Dan, spot on. Lovely view across the lake here at Calvert Jubilee Nature Reserve. This nature reserve will be significantly impacted by High-Speed 2, the project to build that high-speed line linking London, Birmingham, Manchester and Leeds. And actually it's at this end, at that end of the nature reserve, where there'll be the biggest impact, because the line will essentially run along that edge of the reserve, and therefore a significant chunk of woodland and scrub up there will have to be cleared to make way for the line. But we were out at early light couple of days ago to do a bit of bird watching, because this nature reserve is home to some quite rare species of birds, and we got lucky.
Close to nature at Calvert Jubilee. This wildlife reserve is a mix of habitats. Get here early.
So at the moment there's a cormorant out on the raft. Yeah, just out there. Yeah, so right out.
And you might get lucky.
You can see, looks like a bitten's just come out from the reed bed here.
Seeing a bittern up close.
Yeah, what a stunning bird.
Like this in central England is rare. But a section of the woodland and scrub near the lake at this side of the reserve will have to be cleared to make way for a new high-speed railway called HS2.
As you can see, there's already a local line here. Broadly speaking, that's where High-Speed 2, the first stretch of it linking London to Birmingham, will run. But a high-speed railway is a much bigger project. It requires land either side of the line, and in this case, it will mean woodland on this side of the nature reserve will have to be cleared. And as we've seen, it's a vital habitat for rare species of insects and birds.
Some locals are concerned.
People know you can't move an ancient forest from one place to another. You can't move species. Once you've lost a habitat like this, it's gone. Plus all the wildlife within it, it's gone.
This reserve is one of hundreds of wildlife sites which feature in a new report on the environmental impact of HS2. The Wildlife Trust says constructing the new railway will divide and destroy huge swathes of irreplaceable natural habitat and important protected wildlife sites the length of England.
Well, the reason that these sites are going to be trashed are designated is because they are precious and vital to our wildlife. So species like the dingy skipper or white-clawed crayfish could be wiped out from certain areas because of the destruction HS2 is causing. And HS2 and the government have said they're going to do mitigation works. But the reality is they're only just starting with those mitigation works. And for them to be mature enough to support wildlife, they should have been done years and years ago.
HS2 Limited says it's done extensive work to relocate species, like the great crested newt at this site near Birmingham.
We will be impacting on species and habitats up and down the line of the route. Ecological surveys have been undertaken for the last few years to really understand what's there, what's in the landscape, so we can appropriately respond to that in our designs, our mitigation plans. And so through construction we understand what's happening, and that those designs will eventually be an area where all the habitats that are recreated are flourishing.
With HS2 on hold, conservationists like Mark are holding their breath. Soon the government will decide if the project should proceed. Tom Burridge, BBC News in Buckinghamshire.
Well, Mark Valence is from the Wildlife Trust, which manages this reserve, and Lindsay Batham is from the campaign group Stop HS2. Thanks both for joining us this morning. Mark, to you first. How concerned are you about the impact of High-Speed 2 when they start really constructing the line on the animals and the species and the wildlife that uses this reserve?
Yeah, we're really concerned about the impacts on wildlife here. This reserve sits on the edge of the old raw hunting forest of Burnwood, a really, really rich area for wildlife. And much of what you can see around us at the moment is really well protected. It's a local wildlife site, home to some really, really rare species, particularly
we
some
of the bittern, obviously.
Yeah. The bittern is fabulous.
Is it fair to say, though, that it's a bit of an imprecise science the true impact of the project on the species that use this area?
Yeah, I don't think anyone really knows the full impact long term. Obviously, there's a direct loss of habitat and the surrounding farmland, which is going to heavily impact on many of the species that use the site at the moment. But things like the birds out on the lake, the true kind of impacts long term when the train's up and running really just aren't known. But we think it's going to be significant in some way.
Lindsay, a lot of people in other parts of the country won't sort of realise, I guess, HS2 has been going on for a long time. A lot of work has already been done. I mean, what's been the sort of broader impact on this part of the country where you live?
Well, where we live, there's been a review taking place, and HS2 haven't slowed down in their work here. They have already started clearing a massive 500-acre site. Lots of trees and hedgerows have already been cut down. All those trees and hedgerows link to these wildlife sites. These are the highways and byways that the wildlife uses to get from A to B.
HS2 say they're going to plant lots of trees to compensate for that. I mean, do you accept that, we need better infrastructure in this country, particularly transport, don't we? I mean, do you accept that, unfortunately, for some local areas, when you build a massive railway like this, high speed, sadly, for some communities, there is blight, there is impact?
There is. I don't think we need a high-speed rail line joining London and Birmingham. We already have links. What we need is local transport solutions, people who can travel between the towns and cities, not from London to Birmingham. All it will do is bring more people into London. It won't really benefit the northern areas.
OK, Lindsay, thanks very much from Stop HS2. Mark from the Wildlife Trust. The Wildlife Trust report is a pretty chunky document. HS2 disputes some of the statistics, the number of sites affected along the route linking London, Birmingham, Leeds and Manchester. The government's commissioned that review, remember. The review's done. The government has the findings. We had a leak of it a few weeks ago suggesting that the review's recommended that HS2 High Speed 2 should go ahead. But the government's got to make a final call. It's going to be a controversial call either way. We expect that in the coming weeks. I'm told possibly in the middle of February.
And I'm sure you will be keeping us up to date with it, Tom, as well. To call HS2 controversial is such an understatement, isn't it? It's never going to go away, the debate. Tom, thanks so much.